So it was a community growing initiative. It was started in 2017 with the idea of encouraging people of all ages to grow their own food and to think about what it was that they were eating. So to look at eating locally and eating seasonally. So getting away from this idea that when you go to the supermarket that everything that's in the supermarket is always there, but your tomatoes will be flown halfway around the world. And also to then look at encouraging people to share their produce, so to grow, share produce, share the food that we're thinking about and growing and eating seasonally, eating healthily, and then just getting people of all ages sort of eating together. So it's not just about the growing side of things, it's also about the health and well-being side of things as well. I'd retrained to become a chef, and I've been working in kitchens around Aberdeen for about 5 or 6 years. And when I stopped doing that, I volunteered down at Seafine for 2 years, and it was a real eye-opener as far as seeing the issues that people had in the city regarding food poverty. And it really got me thinking about how we could try and sort of encourage people to see if they could take a wee bit of a different step, and sort of like if we could give people the means to grow and try and grow their own vegetables or their own fruit or whatever, that it might actually just be a wee addition to some of the produce that we're getting. And it was then I thought, well, how would we go about doing that? And the simplest thing for me to do was to think, okay, we'll just give away everything for free. So that's how the project started, and try to work out, well, what does everybody eat? Well, pretty much most people eat tatties, and they're probably the easiest thing to grow as well. So that was what we started off doing. So we gave out seed tatties and couldn't really believe the response. I mean, I just thought it would just be this wee idea where it might be, okay, let's go and do that. And we end up, I think I ended up buying like 450 kilos of seed tatties and giving them away in the first year. And with the response we got back from people was great.
A core part of One Seed Forward is about the volunteering aspect. And I think that that's a really important thing in terms of health, physical health, mental health and well-being, and the feeling that you're achieving something as well by growing your own food, getting more of an interest in the food that you're eating, which I am kind of hopeful that it has that sort of knock-on effect that you overall become more interested in what I guess your physical health and what you're eating and what you're doing, and eating more healthily, living more healthily, thinking about the environment and thinking about maybe it's not such a good thing that strawberries are available 12 months of the year in the supermarket, and maybe it should only be for a few sort of weeks or months in the summertime.
We've basically got two elements to ourselves, so we're community and education. The education side was something that has really sort of taken off. We started working with the University of Aberdeen on a project called Garden Schools, which was to, again, look at the school system and to increase the amount of outdoor learning that there is done in schools. The children designed the gardens, and we kind of worked on that programme with them and the teachers and developed a whole approach where you take a school from a blank canvas, have the children design the garden, we then build the garden, then go in and look at soil, you start looking at composting, you then start looking at how you sow seeds and what seeds are all about, and then right through to harvest, to planting, harvesting and cooking. So the children are looking after all the produce, and then they had their own wee areas that they were responsible for themselves. And the programme's done incredibly well. So we've now got 14 schools taking part throughout Scotland, and we're really at a push now of sort of trying to get more schools involved in the programme.
It's about people making small actions, and I thought, well, that fits in exactly with what we're doing here with One Seed Forward, and it's about all the small actions that people take coming together to actually make a change. So with encouraging people to grow their own fruit and vegetables and cutting down on food miles and packaging and transport and all that kind of thing. I think it all ties in very nicely.
Yeah, to heckle the boy for Beach Grove. One of the bigger issues that we've got is that seeds are brought in, but they're not actually necessarily seeds that are native to Scotland, and certainly maybe not native to the northeast. And they develop and change over time. And so with biodiversity, what we're encouraging as far as One Seeds For is concerned is people to save the seeds that they're growing and produce that they're growing here, because those seeds are adapting to the wonderful climate that we've actually got in the northeast just now. So there's a big impact, I think, for getting people to think about small steps that can be done. I think when you start, certainly today, you're hearing about all these huge things that they're talking about in the rainforests and no deforestation in 2030, etc. And maybe sometimes people feel a bit too remote from it. And what we're trying to say to folk is that, well, actually, even just doing wee things where you're looking at maybe just growing a few leeks or a few onions or something like that is indirectly your contribution towards a wee bit of sort of a planet change and climate change, because you're looking at growing locally, you've not got the food miles that's going into it, you're not putting in pesticides because you're in control of exactly what's going into that food, and it's going to have health benefits from that. So, we always sort of say that if you've got healthy food, you've got healthy people, and you've got healthy people, you've got a healthy planet.